All right, may I ask you what your name, age, and your relationship is with me, please?
My name is Virginia Seha. I'm 69 years old, and I'm your grandmother.
All right, for the first question, are you the first generation to be born in the U.S.?
Yes, I come from a family of 10 siblings, so I would say yes. Of course, I had an older brother, but yes, my answer would be yes.
Okay. What do you remember about John F. Kennedy's assassination on November 22nd, 1963?
I remember it being very devastating. The parade in Texas was being televised, and it was just traumatic. People were sobbing. It was just a very devastating moment.
Some people have said hope in America died a little that day. Do you agree? And how did this tragic event change America?
I think hope probably did change a little bit because it was an assassination. And I think people tend to lose hope when something like this happens. And with time, I think that hope can be regained.
All right, next. In regard with the Vietnam War, do you think America had lost trust in the federal government by the end of the war?
I'm not sure, but I would say that to a certain point, yes.
Do you believe that the trust was ever won back?
I think yes. With time, trust is usually regained, not by 100% of the people, but for a lot of them. I would say yes.
Okay, thank you. How did America's perception of the country change on July 20th, 1969, when Americans put the first men on the moon?
There was another very important time in our life because you don't imagine that that will ever happen. So it gave our country a lot of hope for the future.
How did Richard Nixon's resignation on August 8th, 1974, and the response to the Watergate scandal influence how Americans thought of their country and its elected leaders?
Of course, there's going to be devastation when something like that happens because he was our leader. So when you have a leader running your country, you tend to think that he's going to do the best job possible and be in there for the duration.
Do you remember when Iranian revolutionaries captured and held 52 American hostages for 444 days from November 4th, 1979 to January 20th, 1981?
I remember, I do remember that happening.
Did this event change how Americans saw themselves as participants in the world affairs?
I'm not sure about that question.
Okay. Do you remember when the Challenger space shuttle was destroyed on 19/28, 1986?
I do.
Did this setback erode Americans' hope in themselves? Or were there Americans ready to face the possibilities of failures?
I think there's nothing is 100% guaranteed, and I think it was just a devastating time also for our country. But like I said, nothing's 100% guaranteed, but it's always very, very hurtful when something like that happens.
In what way do you think our nation changed on November 9th, 1989, when the Berlin Wall came down, effectively ending the Cold War?
I don't have a response to that question.
Okay. And what do you remember about September 11th, 2001, when the country experienced the terrorist attack on the Pentagon World Trade Center and World Trade Center? How was America changed by this?
I think that created a lot of fear in our country, and the fear for security in our country, and the possibility that this was going to lead to more events like this.
How was America changed by this?
was full of fear. I think it put a lot of fear in our country, a lot of fear and disillusion.
Well, how would you define the American dream? What dreams do you have for the future, Americans?
My dream is hope for the younger generations of our country, and that their future holds a lot more for their future than ours.
I believe the greatest impact, my time of history, the period that I've been born, was when President Obama was elected for president, because I believe it had a positive impact and that it brought a little bit less racism and more acceptance into the country. And then for the last part, the last question, I feel as my part of the community of Americans, well, I feel as if my role would be as being someone professional in their field, whether it's in business or entertainment, such as like a professional athlete or a plumber, anything, as long as I'm professional at it. I mean, I could be a stripper, something professional.